Greetings, fellow hunters. Well, I'm finally back, and now it's finally time to take a look at the final episode of the day, which is Swap Meet. Sam sits down in a bar and presents the bartender with unsolicited proof that he is 26 years old. The man is unimpressed and fills his order for a banana daiquiri. Sam seems very happy to be there. A comely blonde woman sitting near notices him and introduces herself as Crystal. Sam tells her name is Gary. She tells him what a stunning looking man he is, and he checks himself out in the bar back mirror. He wholeheartedly agrees with her. Sam seems to have taken on a younger, nerdier demeanor along with his alias and responds to female attention accordingly. Even so, Crystal continues to chat him up until he realizes out loud her thinly veiled intentions. He seems really surprised to proudly declares that he would love to have the sex with her. As he rises to leave, the point of view shifts with their reflections in mirror, the bar back mirror to Bar's side. And we see that Crystal's been communicating with a nerdy-looking kid dressed in Sam's clothes. 36 hours earlier, Sam and Dean are in Housatonic M.A. I'm sorry. Housatonic M.A. I don't know exactly where that is, but anyway. Visiting their former babysitter Donna and her family. Donna shares with Dr. Katie that the boy's dad used to have them with her for stretches of time. Donna shares with Dr. Katie that the boy's dad used to leave them with her for stretches of time, once for 2 weeks. She also came to know what their family business was, thanks to young Sammy, although she didn't believe him at first. The family has been experiencing strange occurrences in the house that started off as relatively minor, but Katie was recently attacked. Donna convinces Katie to raise her shirt and show the guys her abdomen, in other words, it's spelled CHYLDE, but anyway, have been etched to her skin. Dean says it sounds like they're dealing with a poltergeist. Donna says someone has been enters with suitcases and assures him that he and Sam will take care of the problem and go on a little vacation. Later, the boys go for lunch at Patriot Burger and discuss the case. Dean mentions that Donna looked good and seems to be holding up well despite the Amityville thing that's going through with her family. Sam accuses him of still having the hots for her. Dean denies it, just upon the notion of having a wife and Rugrats. Sam coolly prays that idea is no longer his thing. He's busy researching his laptop and finds info of a local legend surrounding Donna's house. In the 1720s, it was owned by a man named Isaiah Pickett, who supposedly hung a woman named Maggie Briggs in his backyard for being a witch. There's surmise that it's probably Maggie's angry spirit having the house. Associates the nucleus of the message murdered child, I guess that's how it was pronounced, or anyway, or know where she's buried. Sam decides he will go check the town records. As Sam and Dean talk, the restaurant cashier stares at Sam from behind the counter. That evening, Sam walks down the street and tells Dean over the phone that he couldn't find proof that Maggie Briggs ever existed, much less where she's buried. He turns into a park and decides to resume the investigation in the morning and hangs up. He stops walking when he hears strange noises around him and suddenly pegged to the neck by a tranquilizer dart. And then he sways and then kneels over, face first. He wakes in a wooded area, dazed and confused, and wearing a Patriot Burger uniform. He starts walking down the road and stopped by a police officer, calls him Gary Frankel, and tells him that his family is worried sick about him. Since confused whether he means Dean called him, follows his suggestion to get in the car. The officer takes him to the Frankel residence, where a couple rush out of the house and the woman brings hug him, thinking God that he's alright. His enters a blocker and asks who she is. Then I'm angry to myself he's drunk. Sam snaps back, and who are you? The woman sincerely tells Sam to answer his father. Thoroughly confused, Sam catches his reflection in the cruiser window and sees that he's not himself. He's reasonably freaked out and demands that someone tell him whose reflection it is. Next, the same person who's standing in front of the mirror, flexing his muscle and audibly admiring himself. When the view pulls over the mirror, it's actually Gary in Sam's body. Dean storms into the motel room, finding out that Sam has been answering his phone for hours. Gary quickly tries to offset his annoyance by offering him a bacon cheeseburger and cheese fries that he picked up from Patriot Burger. Dean is still a little peeved but accepts and gets ready to eat, Gary noticed that they have to leave because the maid came and saw the guns on the bed and freaked out. It wasn't why he let the maid in. Gary offers the lame excuse, and newly annoyed Dean says to leave right after he uses the bathroom. When he's occupied, Gary collects disposable cell phones, including the ones in the Impala. When Dean joins him in the car, Gary asks if he could drive, and they switch seats. As Gary gleefully revs the car and the fight puts it in gear, Dean warns him twice about it being reversed where he slams the car and dumpster behind them. Dean manages to keep his temper mostly in check and tells him to shut up when he tries to apologize as they switch seats again. Dean squeals off into the night. Back at the Frankels, Sam struggles to work out what has happened. He leaves Dean a voicemail saying he thinks he's in the wrong body and can use some help. He searches Gary's room for clues, finds evidence that he is a very intelligent, asthmatic, frustrated virgin who's evolved in dark magic. He answers Mrs. Frankel's call to the breakfast table and finds that Mr. Frankel is still annoyed about Gary's behavior. He wants to know how getting drunk fits into the plan for him getting a full ride at MIT and becoming an engineer. Sarah declares that he could give a rat's ass about the plan. The family's reaction reminds him too late that he is in Gary's body and that he just sassed his dad. He tries to recover, but Clifty starts trying to gather info about Gary, like he has been moody lately or shown any interest in the occult. Mrs. Frankel verifies Sam's hunch that he's fluent in Latin. After yesterday, they noticed him with an old leather-bound book and any number of pets have turned up missing. The exasperated father finally asks him if he's smoking drugs. At breakfast, Sam's exiting the bathroom after finding out the hard way how Gary's body deals with sweet gluten allergy by his Gary's sister Sydney waiting to confront him. She also knew why he would bring up that old creepy book at breakfast, knowing he'd be grounded for a decade if their parents ever found it. Sam finds out from her that Gary keeps the book at school. Dean and Gary are walking down the street discussing what needs to be done for the case. Dean says he'll have to spend all day at a tombstone where else Sam couldn't find out where Maggie Brooks was buried. Gary knows about the local legend owing to his interest in witchcraft and tells Dean that the popular version is wrong. Isaiah Pickett didn't hang her in his backyard for being a witch. He went after she became pregnant with their illegitimate child and buried her in the basement of the house. Dean realizes explains his scratches on Katie's abdomen. She wonders when Sam had to discover this. Gary claims it was last night. Dean's confused when impressed by his work and get in the car to go to Donna's house. The fact that Sam tells him to turn up the Bob Seger on the radio also seems strange to Dean, but he's happy to roll with it. At school, Sam is leaving in on a voicemail for Dean and is approached by Trevor and Nora. They heard about Gary's antics last night and want to know what his story is. Sam tries to shake them, letting them think he just decided to get drunk. He wants to find out from them where Gary's locker is and cracks the combination luck could retrieve the very, very bad book. Dean and Gary arrive into his basement and sold to burn Maggie Brooks' bones. Gary can't contain his excitement and makes a few comments that a nerdy kid on his first ghost hunt will make. No one causes Dean to ask him if he's feeling okay. As Dean starts digging, Gary positions himself behind him and apologizes as he aims a rifle at him. Dean gets to dig and asks what he's apologizing for. And just as Gary's about to pull the trigger, he's falling backwards by an unseen force. Dean turns and rushes over to help him, and Gary gets up ready to flee. He reminds him they still need to burn the bones, but just as he's about to, he starts across the basement as well. Maggie Brooks' spirit materializes and charges him, but Gary manages to light up her bones before it makes contact. Gary still smiles and exclaims, "Dude, that was sweet!" Dean is still a little perplexed by his enthusiasm, but glad the job is done. Back at school, Sam skills his spellbook and is leaving when Trevor and Nora start to follow him, wanting to know where he's going. He tells him he's not feeling himself and needs to go. Trevor pulls out a dart and shoots him in the neck with another dart, as shocked Nora looks on. That evening, Dean and Gary are seated at a table at the bar when Dean orders a decadent bacon cheeseburger and Gary orders the same. Dean asks him deadpan who he is and what he's done with his brother. Gary briefly pegs but manages to deflect by answering with a question. He eats bacon cheeseburgers, doesn't he? Anyway, he says they're celebrating their really awesome day. Dean regards it as a run-of-the-mill ghost hunt and wonders what about it was awesome to him. He answers the question again. Can't you be in a good mood? Dean shrugged but then hesitates before taking a sip of his drink, recognizes that Sam being in a good mood is not really his style. Gary uses the opportunity to declare, well then, it's a new me. Yes, that it's nice little ass kicking for a change, instead of feeling like his sole future is being decided for him, not being able to stop the stupid plan no matter how much he fights it. When he catches himself speaking truthfully, he blames it on being drunk. Dean, of course, thinks he's referring to their supposed destiny as vessels for Lucifer and Michael, and raises his glass to toast an agreement. Dean expresses his belief that they're actually drinking together. Gary says it's a shame that they don't do that very often, because Dean is really a good guy. Dean says that Sam must really be drunk, but Gary repeats the sentiment with sincerity. Dean just stares at him. Later, Dean sits at the table checking his watch, just as Gary is sealing the deal with Crystal at the bar. Gary catches Dean's eye on the way out and whispers to Dean with a goofy smile, "We're gonna do it!" Dean's expression suggests he's finally started piecing together old Sam's weird behavior over the past day. In Trevor's parents' basement, Sam is tied to a post, demanding to know what's going on and struggling to get free. Trevor buggily tells him no one can hear him scream as Nora, nervous and looks on. Trevor calls Gary on his cell phone and reaches him in Crystal's place, and is waiting for her to appear in the bedroom. When Sam hears Trevor ask, "Where's Dean?" and then asks whether he has killed him yet, he looks up from his struggle, shocked. Hears Trevor tell Gary that this other dude inhabiting his body has been in the house hanging out with his parents, a scenario which Gary apparently had considered might happen. Even so, Gary tells Trevor to calm down since no one will believe anything the guy says anyway. Trevor brashly tells Gary he'd better hurry up and kill the son of a bitch. Gary tells him to do it and will not rush him, but he's quickly struggling as leather-clad Crystal enters the bedroom, cracking a riding whip. Trevor hangs up unconvinced that Gary has the beanbags to carry out their mission, but Nora expresses faith in him. Sam demands to know how they even know who Dean is. Trevor affirms that Dean is Hell's Most Wanted, and Sam realizes that these kids have been communicating with demons. He tries to convince them they have no idea what they're dealing with, but Trevor smugly replies that they know there's a bounty on Dean's head, and they intend to collect it. Trevor's not forthcoming with the details, but Nora finally interjects and tells Sam that one night when they were goofing around with that book, the lights started to flicker and Gary went into a trance and started to draw something. She shows scanned the sketch that resulted, and it's a very accurate portrait of Dean. Nora asks that Gary told him he heard a voice that said saying the demons were putting out a bounty on Dean, and were communicating it to every witch and Satanist in the country. Nora speaks admirably about how it was really smart, Gary who spotted Sam, and had the idea to use a spell from the book to get close to Dean Trojan horse style. Sam again tries to convince them that making deals with demons and killing someone means crossing a line they will not come back from. His plea instills enough fear in Nora for her to suggest to Trevor that Sam may be right, but he becomes irritated when she's also losing her nerve. He resolves to take care of it himself. Trevor finds a demon having spell in the book and tells Nora that he's turning these punks silver and getting paid. Both Sam and Nora plead with him to stop even as he starts to recite the spell. When he's done with the recitation, he turns to see that Nora has collapsed. He ignores Sam's warning not to touch her and is surprised to find that her eyes are black and a demon has possessed her. Meanwhile, back at the motel, Gary enters the darkened room quietly and thinks he sees Dean asleep on the bed covered by blankets. He takes Dean's gun from a care bag and aims at the bed. Dean settles in behind him, punches him in the face, and demands to know who he really is. In the basement, the demon wants to know why he's been summoned. Trevor gleefully announces that they have Dean Winchester. Sam shouts at him to keep his mouth shut as he gives up Dean's exact location. Sam is shocked when the demon abruptly turns and acknowledges him by name. Amazed that he was there in some kid's body. It's very impressive to find out that in addition to Dean, Trevor also has Sam Winchester's meat suit ready to be possessed. Trevor feels assured that his plan has finally come together and inquires about a reward. When the demon offers only its undying gratitude response, he can't believe it. Sam tries to tell him to be quiet instead of forcing the issue, and the demon even tells him to consider himself lucky. Instead, he becomes irate and yells that they've worked their asses off and demands an appropriate reward. The demon faces an apologetic demeanor and gingerly asks Trevor what he would like. This seems to be agreeable to granting his wishes for money and love. But then the demon says as a counter-offer, which had to be reaching Trevor's chest and crushing the life out of him. Dean has whipping Gary tied to a chair as he uses the hotel landline to reveal all the missed voicemail messages left by Sam. He tells Gary to start talking. To start talking, or the water burning will commence. And Gary spreads apologies and begs for his life. Dean gets him calmed down and tell him that Sam is his friend's parents' basement and to reveal that he's actually a 17-year-old kid. Suddenly, Dean's fallen backward across the room and knocked unconscious. Gary turns his confused to see Nora until he sees her eyes turn black. As the demon unties him, he tells Gary he's earned everything he wants. He says he wants to be a really powerful witch. The demon knows he's feeling powerless over his life and the plan his father has laid out for him, and says his wish will be granted after they take care of one small formality. He has to be the boss, aka Your Satanic Majesty. Gary strikes him when he starts to backpedal, saying he wouldn't want to bother him. The demon assures him that it'll be a quick and easy meeting. All he'll have to do is say yes to one little question, and he'll get his reward. As Gary considers this, Dean comes from behind and takes a swipe at the demon with a knife, but fails to connect. Gary watches Dean being kicked repeatedly until he catches Dean's eye and starts to reciting an exorcism rite. The race demon turns to Gary and lifts him off the floor by the throat, giving Dean the opportunity to recover enough to take over the recitation. The demon drops Gary and then is caught between the two of them as they take turns completing the rite. It finally smokes the door and escapes through an air duct. Later, Sam and Gary's body is now present in the motel room seated on the floor across from Gary and Sam's body. Gary's carrying out the spell reversal as Dean and Nora are gone. When it's over, Sam runs over to the mirror and declares that it's good to be back. Gary does not agree. As Dean slowly approaches him for a word, he limely offers, "My bad," as an apology. Dean lets him know that's not acceptable and informs him that if he were a voting age, he would be dead now because they would kill him. Gary glances over at Sam, who nods in annoyed agreement. Dean makes it clear that if he doesn't straighten up, they will kill him. As the boys drop Nora and Gary at his parents' house, Sam tells him that his life isn't so bad and that he wishes he had it. He tells him he should just rebel against his parents a little and insert himself in ways that don't involve Satan. He also informs that Nora is not really into witchcraft, but only participates because she likes him. As they're leaving, Dean says it was nice that Sam told Gary that he wishes he had his life. Sam basically lied. Thinks Gary's life sucks. It seems that the apple pie family crap has convinced him that the two of them didn't miss anything. Dean suggests that maybe they just know what they're missing. He starts the car and Bob Singer again blares in stereo. Sam Christians and tells him to turn it down. Dean mutters, "Welcome back, Cotter," and drives off into the night. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity here. Busty Asian makes another appearance in magazine form. We see that Dean is finally memorized an exorcism, which she purposely failed to do in the season 3 episode Sin City. And now let's take a look at some trivia. The basis of the plot for this episode is very much inspired by the film Freaky Friday, which also revolves around a body swap. With Sam, Gary, and Dean go into the basement, Gary makes an obvious remark regarding Master Chief, the main playable character from the game series of Halo. The demon-possessing Nora grabs Gary by the neck and lifts him up and starts to exorcise her. However, if you're actually in Sam's body, she couldn't have done this, not because she wasn't strong enough, but because he towered over her. When Dean finally listens to Sam's voicemails, we hear them read out Sam's voice. As Sam is in Gary's body, we should hear Gary reciting them. Gary in Sam's body orders a banana daiquiri at the bar. He drinks some of it. When he puts it down, the drink is full. Then whilst he's talking, it goes back to partially drunk. At one of the supernatural conventions, Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki shared with the crowd that originally the body swap was supposed to be between Sam and Dean. And now finally, let's take a look at some errors. When Dean listened to Sam's message, it was his voice which had been Gary's, seeing as Sam was in the witch's body and had his biology. Also, when Dean looks at Gary, he looks down. The actual Sam is taller than Dean. Gary's friends, sister, and parents come to talk to Gary when in reality, Gary is at least a head shorter than Sam. When Sam slash Gary sits at the bar, the volume of his drink varies depending on the angle from which the scene was filmed. Close-ups, he was already drunk more. His level is already below the pineapple slice on the edge of the glass. In more distant scenes, the pineapple is still partially covered. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, I'm not sure if I'm really a big fan of body swapping episodes, but hey, this one's actually not so bad. So, yeah. So overall, I give Swap Meet 3 Impalas out of 5. But anyway, tune in tomorrow as we take a look at the next episode. The song remains the same. So, until then, carry on, my wayward sons and daughters.